Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Risk appetite sentiment finding reasons to continue analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 0F18C2914 10:12:45 am notes observations risk on appetite fueled by renewed optimism about a coronavirus vaccine Japan Suga 1 LDP leadership vote and poised to become the country's new Prime Minister UK Parliament prepared to debate a proposal to rewrite parts of the Brexit withdrawal agreement. Asia-Japan Chief Cabinet Secretary Suga leading LDP party leadership candidate if the pandemic worsened then government would do whatever was necessary to protect jobs and businesses. Reiterates stance that had no plans to raise sales tax for 10 years, but could not rule out future tax hikes. No rush to change BOJ's easing policy must maintain 2% inflation target. Coronavirus total global cases 28.9 m total deaths 922.7 k Oxford and AstraZeneca resume coronavirus vaccine trial. New Zealand PM Ardern announced she would extend level 2 virus restrictions in Auckland by 1 week. Auckland to move to alert level 1 effective midnight September 21. Chinese virologist Dr. Li Mengyan claimed she has evidence that COVID-19 was made in government-controlled lab in Wuhan, planning to release scientific proof in the next few days. Europe ECB Chief Lagarde reiterated stance that incoming data showed a strong but uneven and incomplete recovery and that underlying price pressures had weakened. Reiterated stance that continued expansionary fiscal policies were vital to avoid excessive job shedding and support household incomes until the recovery was stronger. ECB's de Guindos Spain reiterates council stance that are closely monitoring the effects of FX rate on price stability. ECB's Ren Finland reiterated council stance that ECB was ready to use all means to achieve price stability. Core inflation in the euro area had stabilized at a low level that was not in line with the ECB's goal. UK PM Johnson defended decision to alter Brexit divorce deals, noting that he could not hand the EU the power to carve up the country. Issued a direct plea to Tory MPs not to rebel over upcoming internal market bill. UK Chancellor of the Exchequer Sunak Finman said to seek flexibility to hold budget later if circumstances change with coronavirus cases. Could delay the no budget statement until New Year amid a second wave. America's President Trump tweeted that he signed a new executive order to lower drug prices. Speakers fixed income FX commodities Euratom equities indices STOXX 6000.18% at 368.64, FTSE 0.05% at 6034.92, DAX 0.20% at 13,228.25. CAC 40 0.38% at 5,053.44, IBEX 35 0.12% at 6,954.00, FTSE MIB 0.15% at 19,790.50, SME 0.08% at 10,448.00. S&P 500 futures 1.22% market focal points. Key themes: European indices open higher across the board, but later retraced to only trade modestly in the green. Investor sentiment buoyed after AstraZeneca resumes COVID vaccine trial. Better performing sectors include technology and industrials, consumer discretionary and healthcare sectors among underperformers. Euronext, Deutsche Börse, and Six Group bid for LSE's Italian unit. Valneva enters COVID vaccine deal with Dynavax. Metro rejects takeover offer from EP Global. Spanish Labmin says likely to extend furlough scheme past year-end. Reportedly, CaixaBank and Bankia to announce final terms of merger deal on Wednesday. Earnings expected in upcoming U.S. session include Lennar and Avery Dennison Equities. Consumer discretionary HMB.se 3% analyst downgrade. Healthcare AstraZeneca AZN.UK 1% resumes COVID-19 vaccine trials after review. Valneva VLA.fr 14% supply agreements. Industrials Dassault Aviation AM.fr 10% deal with Greece. Costain Cost.uk 5% earnings. Speakers Germany Economic Ministry monthly report pre-crisis growth level was not likely to be reached until beginning of 2022. Domestic recovery was continuing but had recently slowed. France Finmin Le Maire noted that the government to revise French GDP forecast in coming days. Note: Le Maire recently noted that the recession was not as bad as initially expected than the 2020 GDP forecast of 11.0%. EU Trade Secretary Dombrovskis restoring transatlantic ties is a top priority and reiterated call to end US duties over Airbus subsidies. Spain Labor Min Diaz stated that would likely to extend furlough scheme beyond year-end and to maintain scheme for tourism industry as long as needed. German Association of the Automotive Industry VDA no deal Brexit outcome would mean combined EU-UK losses of up to A110B to 2025. Amount would be on top of the A100B in lost production from the pandemic in 2020. Japan's Suga incoming PM stated after winning the LDP leadership vote that must continue with policies of the Abe government to continue efforts to overcome coronavirus crisis. China Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijuan ready to work with new Japan leadership and ensure improvement in relations. Currencies fixed income USD was softer in the session as risk appetite mustered some momentum. Risk on buoyed by AstraZeneca resuming its coronavirus vaccine trial in UK after it was paused last week. Euro USD was edging higher back towards the 1.19 neighborhood despite several ECB members commented that they were monitoring the effects of FX rate on price stability. Dealers noted of technical factors also aiding the currency despite the recent central bank rhetoric. The 1.20 level remained the key technical resistance. GBP USD retraced some of its recent losses ahead of the UK parliamentary debate on the Internal Markets Bill. UK PM Johnson issued a direct plea to his Tory MPs not to rebel over upcoming bill. Pair higher by 0.4% by mid-session to reapproach the 1.2850 area. USD JPY hovering around the 106 area as Suga won the LDP leadership challenger and was poised to be the country's next PM. He vowed to carry on with Abe's policies. European bond yield were lower in the session as markets continued to contemplate the possibility of interest rate cuts by the ECB as ECB chief noted that euro currency strength had partly offset the positive impact that the ECB's stimulus had in boosting inflation. Economic data SE Sweden OGP's unemployment rate 5.6% v 5.7% prior 5 Finland July final retail sales volume 4.5% v 4.1% prelim 5 Finland OG CPI 0.0% v 0.4% prior YY 0.2% v 0.6%. Prior in India OG wholesale prices YY 0.2% v 0.4% ETR Turkey July industrial production 8.4% v 8.3% EYY 4.4% v 4.8% EES Spain July house transactions YY 32.4% v 34.3% prior CH Swiss weekly total site deposits 704.1 billion Swiss francs v 702.9 b prior domestic site deposits 635.3 BV 633.2 B prior CZ check July current account balance CZK 20.6 BV 6.0 BHK Hong Kong Q2 industrial production YY 5.1% v 4.6% prior HK Hong Kong Q2 PPI YY 1.3% v 1.3% prior EU Eurozone July industrial production 4.1% v 4.2% EYY 7.7% v 8.1% E fixed income issuance No Norway sold 6.0 billion Norwegian kroner versus 6.0 billion Norwegian kroner indicated in 12-month bills average yield 0.04% v 0.10% prior bid to cover 2.38x v 2.18x prior looking ahead Ukraine Central Bank September minutes 0530 to Germany to sell combined A8.0B in 3-month and 9-month 0530 NL Netherlands Debt Agency DSTA to sell A2.04.0B in 6-month and 9-month bills 0530 ZA South Africa announces details of upcoming IL bond sale held on Fridays 0600 IL Israel Q2 current account balance No. ESTV $3.8 billion prior 0600 IL Israel to sell 2023, 2025, 2037, and 2047 bonds 5 tranches 0600 RO Romania to sell RON 100M in 4.1% 2030 bonds 0645 US daily Libor fixing 0700 TR Turkey to sell floating 2027 bonds 0700 in India announces details of upcoming bond sale held on Fridays 0725 BR Brazil Central Bank Weekly Economists Survey 0800 PL Poland July current account balance A2.4 BV A2.8 B prior trade balance A2.1 BV A2.7 B prior exports A19.8 BV A18.7 B prior imports A17.3 BV A16.0 B prior 0800 in India OG CPI YY 6.9% EV 6.9% prior 0800 BR Brazil July Economic Activity Index monthly GDP 3.4% EV 4.9% prior YY 5.3% EV 7.1% prior 0800 UK Daily Baltic Dry Bulk Index 0800 ES Spain Debt Agency Tesoro announcement of size on upcoming issuance 0850 FR France Debt Agency AF to sell a 4.15.3 B in 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month bills 3 tranches 0945 EU ECB Weekly QE Bond Buying Update 1100 CO Colombia July Manufacturing Production YY 3.4% EV 9.9% prior 1100 CO Colombia July Retail Sales YY 10.0% EV 14.2% prior 1100 CO Colombia July Industrial Production YY No ESTV 12.4% prior 1600 US Weekly Crop Progress Report 1700 KR South Korea OG Export Price Index No ESTV 0.4% prior YY No ESTV 5.8% prior 1700 KR South Korea OG Import Price Index No ESTV 0.9% prior YY No ESTV 9.0% prior 1700 NZ New Zealand Q3 Westpac Consumer Confidence No ESTV 97.2 prior 1930 Australia ANZ Roy Morgan Weekly Consumer Confidence Index No ESTV 91.1 prior 2130 ORBA September Minutes 2130 Australia Q2 House Price Index QQ 1.3% EV 1.6% prior YY 6.8% EV 7.4% prior 2200 CN China AUG Industrial Production YY 5.1% EV 4.8% prior Industrial Production YDD YY 0.3% EV 0.4% prior 2200 CN China AUG Retail Sales YY 0.0% EV 1.1% prior Retail Sales YDD YY 8.8% EV 9.9% prior 2200 CN China AUG Fixed Urban Assets YY 0.5% EV 1.6% prior 2200 CN China AUG YDD Property Investment YY 4.1% EV 3.4% prior 2200 CN China AUG Surveyed Jobless Rate 5.6% EV 5.7% prior 2330 HK Hong Kong to sell 3-month and 6-month bills. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me mt5.expert.advisors.